Hey, and welcome back to another video in the TNL Tips video series. This entire series is focused on tips that hopefully you can incorporate in your own work, particularly as you're teaching inside of Canvas and trying to become better at it, maybe if you're new to teaching in Canvas for us. So today let's talk about what the Canvas dashboard is. The dashboard specifically is what you see when you log onto Canvas, which has that tile view of various classes that you're teaching or that you're enrolled in as a student. Even though you're teaching for us, your role sometimes may be a student, particularly as you enroll in one of our Canvas tutorial shells and you're trying to learn something new in Canvas. We actually do classify you as a student. So when you first log into Canvas, it's all the tiles that you see. We'll talk through how you can arrange those tiles, how you can get rid of classes that maybe you don't want to show up anymore, or you're probably wondering, well, how do I navigate it such that I can pull in some classes as favorites that aren't appearing? So in fact, you'll be working today with two tabs in Canvas. One will be the dashboard that appears 3 down on the menu, or maybe 2 down on the menu. I have a few different tabs from you, but it looks like a speedometer or maybe a gas gauge. So that's what you're looking for. That has the tile view. And then it should be right below that, you have your courses view. The courses view will allow you to actually populate items or classes rather, these class tiles into your dashboard view for convenience. The other thing that you're going to note when you work with this is that classes also have icons. Those icons on the tabs allow you to quickly navigate to key sections inside of your class like assignments, discussions, announcements, and files. As well, I will show you how to customize the color, the view of your tile, or even to upload an image so that you have maybe a more evocative image for your class, and it'll help your students remember what class they're in. If you're teaching CPR, maybe you have an image of a CPR mannequin there that allows the students to quickly see with the tile what kind of content the class is. It's kind of an iconic or visual form of recognition that can be helpful when you're navigating and your students are navigating the dashboard. So let's jump onto Canvas and see how to approach navigating and working with your dashboard and all the class tiles. Okay, so let's jump right in and look at the dashboard and how you might use it in your own Canvas work. So as I mentioned, you'll want to click on the dashboard icon. We're actually going to look at the course icon in a bit. You'll use that as well because that will allow you to pull in any number of courses. But let's begin with the dashboard icon. So once you've landed here, you'll see a few different things, and this could change based on the configuration that you have. This is my preferred, the tile view. You can click up here and choose from 3 different views: a list view, recent activity view, which isn't going to have a lot right now since my classes are not active in session. The list view I personally find cluttered and confusing, but some of you may like it just depending on how you operate. This has a list of everything from announcements that you can see here. You can always tell by the icon. We'll look at these icons in a second. They're pretty self-explanatory. If it's a discussion coming up for one of your classes that you're enrolled in, could be grading. Again, there's a lot of different roles you have in Canvas, whether you're taking some classes as a student versus the classes you teach. But these icons will always tell you something based on what they are. This is a quiz or an assignment, a discussion, and so forth. You can look at all the different icons. So I prefer actually going back up here. And by the way, if you are in this list view, you have some additional icons that appear up at the top. As I always say in these tutorials, once you start working with something in Canvas, poke around and see what is there. It's really best to kind of discover things on your own. So I'll just give you the broad overview of everything today. So then we just went back to our card view, just looking at the dashboard view here. One other option you have here, there aren't a lot of things to choose up here just from those 3 views. You can do the color overlay on your tiles. These are known as tiles, which are all your courses, again, that you're teaching, that are previous courses, favorited courses, courses that you're a student in, and so forth. So if I take the color overlay off, you can see what it looks like. So it's almost like the choice between glossy and more opaque or matte paper, I guess. So I prefer this view. Again, you can change it. It's not a huge deal. Which one is maybe more appropriate to you aesthetically, I guess would be what we would say. So I'll just go back and put the color overlay since I like it. The other thing you're going to note here is you get your to-do list here. Again, this is not that expansive because it has it's basically looking at stuff that is either irrelevant because I'm testing something, like this particular to do here is not real. I'm just testing something in my test shell, so it's appearing. I can also from here view the calendar. So again, look at everything that you see on your dashboard and just decide on your own what you want to work with as far as your own workspace here in Canvas. So probably the most important thing to look at would just be you have your published courses up here and your unpublished courses down here. This will not include everything, and there's two ways actually we can access what would be called the favorites menu. So if you look at this menu here, that is just anytime you see that in Canvas, you always know there's a settings involved. So what I could do is I could choose the location of the tiles, and you can drag and drop as you've become accustomed to in your modules. So that's actually pretty handy. I could make a nice organization here, like I could have my online classes here and my face-to-face here, ISP here, although I'm probably not using Canvas Shell for ISP. So you can do it that way. You can also do it kind of the old-fashioned way, move down. It'll move it one lower. If I go back and move up, you'll see it's moving that way. And if I want it to overtake the very beginning, let's see, it's not letting me do that. What if I hit move to top? Okay, move to top does it. So for me, it's a little more intuitive just to drag and drop your tiles. It's easier, and there's nothing that you have to save when you do that. So that's very easy to use. Now the other thing to note on the move menu is the unfavorite. So we can try that now. Watch what happens if I click unfavorite. You're about to remove this course from your dashboard. It'll be available by navigating the courses, all courses from the main menu. So again, we're really having to work in tandem with both the dashboard icon on our navigation menu and the courses. So I'm going to hit submit, and you see it now disappears. So this is nice if we want to unclutter things, and I'll show you in a little bit with the courses icon how to bring that SOC 107 class back. So this is pretty easy to use. You'll also notice that anything that is unpublished has the indication of being unpublished, and I just did it there. Sorry, it actually jumped away to that other view, but once I hit publish, then it actually does appear as published. So I'm not too worried about that. There's nothing really in that test class, but that's always good to know. So if you're getting ready for the term and you see that this publish icon is there, you know you have to either publish it before the term starts or just be aware that it's unpublished there. Now the other thing you can get from this menu is a choice of colors and also nicknames, and I think students probably use this a little more. So you can type in a different nickname and that'll appear there. I could choose a different color, very easy. I could choose the color number. I don't know if that's the Pantone system, but whatever that number code is, if you want a specific color, you could look that up and hit apply. In this case, I could just choose the color that I want, hit apply, and it changes the color. Now, one thing you might like to do is have an icon or an image to give it a more evocative look. I like using word clouds on my classes just as a way to kind of spice things up, and students can see exactly what is available by looking at that icon. So for this one, Palmy's criminal justice class, he has an image of a old-time police cruiser. So another easy, iconic way to remember what the class is for your students' sake, maybe more than yours. If you're teaching a culinary class, you could have an image of a kitchen or food or something like that. Now, if you're wondering how to change the image for this tile purpose, there's no way to do it either from this menu nor from the courses menu. A little counterintuitive. So what we have to do, I'll show you a sample, is click on the actual class. I'm going to double click here. And now I'm going to go to my settings menu all the way at the bottom of my navigation menu on the left. And then I'm going to scroll my cursor just to the choose image here. I'm going to click that. And I can click upload image. I could drag it in there. Okay, so I have a test image here. And let's see if there's any image conventions it doesn't like. I believe it does have to be a JPEG if you had a TIFF, or perhaps a PNG works. I don't know entirely, so you can either look that up or try. So from here I can remove the image or choose the image, and then I can hit update course details to save that. And now let's go back to the dashboard view, and you'll see that that has been indeed updated with an image. And there it is, so our test class. So it's a little counterintuitive. I think if Canvas had it nice from a user standpoint, you could actually change the tile image from this page, but you don't have that option. So the easiest thing to do is just go to your class, double click it, click on settings as we saw, and change the image right there. So this is pretty much what you need to know on this screen. There's one other thing that you might find useful to know, and that is you see these icons here. Now, as you remember earlier, these refer to things like assignments and announcements and modules. This is your icon for files. I don't know if I have all these memorized myself. This I know is for announcements. And that way, if I click that icon, it will take me to that particular section inside of that class shell. So it's really like a shortcut, basically, that appears here. Now, there are two things to know about the icons that will appear on your tiles. One is they only appear if you have them, I'll show you how this works. They only appear if you have them visible under your navigation menu here. Keep in mind, anything that has a gray eyeball means that it's invisible to the students, but you can still, of course, see that and click on that. So as an example of this, let's just go in and remove announcements. And to do that, I'll go to my navigation. So I'm going to take announcements, move it here. Keep in mind, you always have to hit the save at the bottom when you reorder your navigation menu items. Once I've done that, you'll see it now has the gray eye there. And now we'll go back to dashboard view, and you'll see the change has taken place. And this was that class we were looking at. So once you do that, once you remove that, it no longer shows up here. The other stipulation I mentioned there are two. So one is they have to be visible in your course navigation menu. The second is you have to have at least one instance of that item type active in your class. So as an example, if we have announcements here, if in his class he didn't have any announcements that were active, it actually won't show up. And if you're wondering, the icons all appear in the order from top to bottom of, again, those selected items that you have in your navigation menu. So in this case, if I had announcements active, it would appear as the first icon when I go back to my dashboard. So it's something to know. Personally, I never use these icons, but looking at them now, I'm thinking like, okay, when I'm doing my grading, if I want to quickly add an announcement for my fall class, or I want to quickly go to my files, all I have to do is click that and I'm there. And then to get back to the dashboard, I just again double click and I'm there. So it could be handy again if it works for you. Use your icons that you find in your course tiles. Again, it's very easy to rearrange classes and everything. So that's pretty much what we need to know on this menu from your dashboard selection. Now let's click on courses. So courses is basically the repository of every single class that you have available to you. You could see here your enrollment status, the term of it, if it's a training class, if you're a designer, a student, a teacher, and so forth. And it has everything going back to the beginning of when you taught in Canvas. It also has your future enrollments. So you remember earlier we had those stars that we could select on our dashboard view. And we got to that again by clicking on Move and clicking Unfavorite versus Favorite. So the other way to do that then with all your classes is to go to your course menu. So at this point you'll see the grayed out stars, and what I could do is click any of these and that class will then appear in my dashboard. So I added ABCs of course design, go back to my dashboard, and it now appears. And again, I can rearrange it as I like. This is a good example of having a course that has a nice icon that really tells you what it is. Now, one thing to note on this is you cannot add every single class to your favorites list, even though you can access your courses, and it's very easy to do it this way. They tend to be alphabetical by the name of the class, so all my magic and witchcraft are here, and I could just find very easily which year I want. But since these are not active classes, as the error message comes up, I cannot add it to the courses menu unless the course is active. So unless that course had a current term to it, I wouldn't be able to do that. Now again, these courses are coming up, so I could do that. This test class, it looks like it's telling me it isn't. So I could go in with a sandbox and change that to alter it to make it available for me in the dashboard view. But that is really all you need to know in the courses view. Again, there's not a lot of things here for you to look at. It allows you to access all your courses, and then you can, in some cases, if they're available as such, you can add those as active courses that then appear in your menu up here. And at any time, again, if you want to remove these, you're not stuck. All you have to do is click on the move, unfavorite, and those go away. You can also do that by unfavoriting it from the courses menu as well. So that's it today, looking here at the dashboard and the courses menu here in your Canvas shell. Okay, that is it today here, focusing in the TNL Tips video series on the dashboard. Hopefully this gives you a sense of how to navigate and work with the dashboard and all of your various classes in there, however many you might have. I'll be back with additional videos in this series shortly.